Hey guys, hope you guys are doing well. And today we are gonna dive into a simple beginner friendly algorithm. It's not so beginner if you don't know any of the syntax and everything that is in JavaScript. And since we are gonna build this algorithm on JavaScript, so very fundamental stuff needs to be there, and you need to be familiar with the syntax. That's it. So this algorithm is called pyramid or Super Mario algorithm, and all you have to do is that you have to print out this Super Mario blocks that you used to step on or jump onto, like these blocks. Okay, these blocks here. So you do not have to go ahead and print out the background, but just these blocks. And we're gonna do it with JS today. Okay, so let's get started. I have my index file here, and it's ready there, and I have attached my JS file there, and we're gonna dive into the algorithm now. So first, I'm gonna take a main function. I'm gonna keep it as main. Make pyramid. We're gonna prompt a box for user input, and we are expecting number here, and we are gonna store that value in this variable called height. And below that we are gonna draw this height, and this draw function is nowhere here. We are gonna build one, and notice that this draw function takes in this height as a parameter. So we are gonna build this draw function of ours, and we're gonna pass in a parameter, and we're gonna call it height as well. It's the name is like absolutely up to you, but I'm just gonna keep it height to like keep it simple. That's it. And inside this we're gonna run a for loop, our friendly old I loop, and we're saying, and as long as I is less than the height, we're gonna increment the I. And inside this for loop we're gonna have another for loop, and we're gonna say that j is 0, and the condition would be as long as j is less than I plus 1, and this is very important. It needs to be I plus 1, otherwise it's not gonna work. And why is that? I'm gonna show you. And inside this nested for loop, we're gonna do is first we're gonna have another variable up here, and we're gonna set it to an empty string. Okay, and inside this nested for loop, we're gonna do is that on the first iteration we're gonna print a hash, and at the end of the outer for loop we're gonna add a new line break at the end. And at the end of the function we are just going to go ahead and print out the hash to see what's going on in the console. And down here I'm just going to call my function. So that's it. I've saved it. I'm gonna run my live server here. This is an extension. In case if you don't have it, you can get it from the Visual Studio Code extension from the marketplace. So here it is. Our application is working fine. We have our prompt box here, and let's see, we need our console here. Let's put in a number, let's say 4. Ta-da! Prints out the 4. How about 8? Yeah, it is printing out 8. So let me go through this code and explain what's happening here. So I took it a function up here which is my pyramid. This is not necessarily has to be like this. It's up to you how you're gonna make it. You could have done with this just one function or no function at all, but I'm just gonna do it like this. So inside this, the first one we're taking in the value from the prompt box, and we're storing that value inside this constant called height. And below that um, we are setting our draw function here inside this main function, and we are passing in this value here as parameter. And down here we have our draw function here, and again we are taking in a parameter, and then we have set a variable to an empty string, and below that we are running a for loop and then another for loop within it. So the first for loop, we are saying that as long as I is less than the height, and we have our I here as like 0. In case if you're absolutely beginner and have no idea what for loop is, or kind of like you're getting familiar with for loops, so you just go ahead, look for loops in the Google, or I'm just gonna quickly explain that what's happening here is like we have initiated a variable with a 0, and that variable is of course I here, and we are saying that as long as I is less than the height, increment the number I. Okay, and inside this for loop we have another nested for loop, and what we are saying that we have a j, we have set a j to 0, and j is like, okay, I'm all cool, I'm 0, and the next evaluation is very important. And now this for loop, the j looks for the evaluation. So j is like, okay, what's up I, what do you got? And I is like, hey, I got 1 on my back. It's not just 0 as initiated up here, I have a 1 on my back. So at this point on the first iteration, this I, rather than being 0, this is 1 here. So as JC sees that it's 1, so let's print out 1 hash here, and then this is gonna print out a line break, and we're just console logging the hash, and it goes on until the condition is met, and the condition is as long as the height is less than the I. So if we put in the number 4, this whole for loop is going to run for 4 times. If it's 8, it's gonna run 8 times to print out this 8 hash. Okay, this is why it is printing like this in a pyramid order. Now let me show you just that what happens if we did not add 1 to this I. Okay, in that case, let's say we print out 4 again, and oh no, it's not supposed to happen. Hold on. Here we compile. Now let's say 4. Yeah, see? If you look at the console here, you see that the first one is missing, and this is not basically a 4. It's printing out like 3 pyramid here, and it's printing out 3 blocks here, 3 hash here to be precise, because on the first loop, on the first iteration, when this j sees that this is I, and I has nothing but 0 here, so the j takes it literally and prints out nothing at all. And on the next iteration, j prints out 1, because I is 1 at the next iteration, because we are incrementing the I on each iteration. So that is why we are adding 1 to this I. So if we do this, and now if we go ahead and put in 4, there it is. We are getting this four hashes, like 4 rows of hashes. So this is like quite simple but pretty fun and tricky algorithm at the beginning. So I'm gonna leave this piece of code in the description. You can get it from there, and that's it. You can go ahead and fiddle with it and experiment with it. You can also do something like as a challenge that you can print out the other way around, which is like we have printed out the right one here, which is facing to the right, but you can print out both at the same time, or the left one, which is facing to the left side here. Okay, so that's it. You can take it as a challenge. I'm just gonna quickly tell you that if you do this, you can take another for loop here and you use it to print out space. So that's it. That's it. Okay. Anyway, all right. So that's for it, and you guys have a great day, great night, and code on.